folks, Brandon Moore here, Hero Holsters, and I got a little tip for you, something I figured out today after stumbling across an article by DIY Holsters on Blogspot. It was about how to prep your blue gun with Bondo, and I really get tired of blocking off the ejection port. I'm sure many of you do as well, and this using this Bondo is going to fill that in permanently. Now if you read their article, and I suggest you do before doing anything in this video, you'll find that you can coat this with oil or something like that and pull the Bondo plug out later if you don't want it to be permanent. What I'm doing in this video is going to be permanent. I don't have any need to pull that plug out later. I've cleaned the area that I'm going to be working with 91% rubbing alcohol. That's what they recommended in their video, that or acetone, something like that. This gun wasn't painted before, but I just cleaned it anyway. That way everything, the tape sticks well and everything's just nice and clean and good to go. I'm also breaking several of my own rules for shooting a video because I've had a migraine all day and I don't really feel like messing around a whole lot. So this is going to be quick and dirty, and just a real quick tip on what I figured out. This is gonna cut off some time for you. So I'm going to go ahead and mask this out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have tape right along the edges of this ejection port so that I'm just right up against it. The only thing that I'm going to be able to get Bondo on is inside the ejection port, because I usually do make a mess. I just always end up messing something up when I got sticky, gooey stuff and I'm trying to be clean. It doesn't work out. So mask it off, and actually we're going to be squeezing some of the Bondo underneath some tape, so you're going to want extra tape back here on top of the slide, or if the ejection port on your gun goes all the way around, you're going to want some all the way over so that you can purposefully make a bit of a mess. So I'm going to get this taped up and be right back. Alright, so now I've got everything really masked off. I'm right up on the edges there, and I even took some small pieces that I cut with scissors and got right along the curve there, because it's not a squared off port, and got plenty of extra along the back here so I can make a bit of a mess here in a minute. And now I'm going to mix up my Bondo, and apparently mixing Bondo is not really an exact science because the instructions on the can are terrible, but something about squeezing so much of an inch or something per golf ball size, it's really weird. I just kind of make it look good. You've got this huge can of Bondo and this tiny little tube, so I use proportionate amounts of both, and it seems to work out. Get that mixed up, and then I'm going to have to kind of work quickly. Bondo sets up rather fast. Some Bondo on a stick and just start gooping it in there. That's a sign to, you know what? I forgot to follow my own instructions and drill out the holes to give that Bondo somewhere to sit, somewhere to grab hold of. I'm not too worried about it. I cleaned it really well, and if it falls out later I can always redo it. Now I have prepared an extra piece of tape, and what you're going to do is, starting down here below the ejection port, put that tape on there real nice and tight, and just keeping it flush with the rest of the frame. Take your extra stick and just sort of keep things nice and flush. You're squeezing out that extra Bondo. And if all goes well, it's nice and smooth under there. And pretty soon we'll be able to peel this tape off, and you're going to find that you shouldn't have to do any sanding whatsoever to get this finalized. I'm just going to set this down and wait maybe a couple of minutes, maybe not even that long. I'm going to play with the pile of extra Bondo here to see to know when this is starting to set, and when it's just starting to get there, I can start peeling the tape off, and I shouldn't have to do any sanding at all. So we'll be right back. Alright, so I'm going to start peeling this off. See what we got. Got a little air pocket in there, but it's pretty small. Shouldn't affect the forming of Kydex. Like I said, me and Murphy are tight. I had this masked off clear down past the barrel, and there's Bondo on it naturally. And the reason I want to peel that off before it sets completely is there was some overlap there off of the gun onto the tape, and I don't want it to be completely hardened to where it's going to keep that on there, and the tape's going to rip as I'm pulling that off. As it happens, I'm looking at it here, sighting down the side of the barrel, and it appears to be almost perfectly flush, if not a thousandth of an inch higher than the rest of the barrel, slide, excuse me, which is perfectly fine. And now I'll just leave this alone to cure for a while, and shouldn't have to sand it at all. Not sure how well this is going to show up later, but you can maybe see by the play of the light that it's nice and smooth, of course, because I had tape around it. You can see how flush it is to the gun. And that can save you a lot of time with not having to scrape with a knife and do a lot of sanding. So good luck with that. Hope this was helpful for you. If you're finding this video on YouTube, be sure to check out KydexPro.com. That's the web forum that I did this for. You'll find a lot of useful information there, and a great community of vendors who like to share their tips and tricks so that we can all improve the whole industry of Kydex and not slow each other down by trying to keep secrets. It's a great way to do it. I don't know where else you're going to find a community of people who compete with each other and join together to share trade secrets. It's fantastic. So, like I said, if you found this on YouTube, come check it out. KydexPro.com. Hero Holsters out.